If there's something in you or something about your personality that tends to look after others, you have a caretaker kind of personality, that's actually the image of God in you. Now, today we ask the question, does God notice when people drop the ball? Is God aware of injustices and when people, be they leaders, parents, coaches, anybody in any kind of relational responsibility over somebody else, when they don't do their job, does God notice? Because a lot of times we can feel when we're missed by somebody, we're missed by God too. Like he didn't notice either that we were in need and didn't get the help we need. But God is not like that. God is watching over everything. And this passage from Ezekiel, it's where I found myself this morning in my devotion. So I'm going to share this little bit with you. This is what it says. This is about the shepherds of Israel. God's about to drop the hammer on the religious leaders who were in charge of overseeing and caring for God's people. He says, Son of man, he's talking to Ezekiel, prophesy against the shepherds, the leaders of Israel. Give them this message from the sovereign Lord. So he's saying, Ezekiel, I want you to say this to the people who have been given religious, relational responsibility over my people. This is what you need to tell them. He says, what sorrow awaits you shepherds who feed yourselves instead of your flock? You drink the milk, you wear the wool, and you butcher the best animals, but let your flocks starve. You've not taken care of the weak. You have not tended the sick. You've not bound up the injured. You've not gone looking for those who have wandered away and are lost. Instead, you ruled them with harshness and cruelty. So my sheep have been scattered without a shepherd, and they are easy prey for any wild animal. They have wandered through all the mountains and all the hills across the face of the earth, yet no one has gone to search for them. That's Ezekiel 34. God notices. God calls it an injustice. God calls his leadership to accountability. And then later on in Ezekiel 34, he says, I'm going to be the solution. I'll be the one to look for them. I'll be the one to bind up their wounds. I'll be the one to feed them. I'll be the one to keep them safe. This is all a prefigure. It's a hint toward what is coming with Jesus himself, who is the good shepherd. So Jesus ultimately fulfills this calling of watching out for us, which means if you are a follower of Christ, you are one of his sheep. And it says in John 10, Jesus is speaking and he says, my sheep know me. They know my voice. They follow my lead. They run away from the bad guy. They run toward me. This idea of shepherding and caretaking is something that God shows to us. He cares for us. We as human beings are remarkably dependent. As strong and independent as you are in so many ways, you still need God. And so spiritually speaking, you and I need shepherds. And so what has happened in the church is a lot of times people have been disappointed by leadership, and many times rightly so, because a leader did something dumb. They did a career-limiting mistake. They did something that didn't honor the Lord. They failed. Well, we know that human beings are going to fail. Every human being has the capacity to disappoint you at some point. So it is a question of inventory. Who do I trust? Who am I really looking toward for shepherding? But at the same time, we have to be fair and say there are those who are given a spiritual placement to lead and to care and to shepherd, and they drop the ball. So we just have to acknowledge that up front. But we have to see in this story, this passage in Ezekiel 34, that God sees that too. And he shuts it down, he calls it out, and he ultimately fixes it himself. And then you get to the New Testament and you see that there are points where people are called to be shepherds over God's flock, that the Lord appoints people to care for others, that they actually have this natural tendency to be concerned about the welfare of the people around them. If that's you, if you have that thing in you that looks out for the little guy, that makes it so that injustices are made right, that you look out for the poor, the needy, the hungry, the forgotten in our culture, if there's something in you that has that drive and that desire, that's the image of God in you. Because God made us in his image, he naturally cares for others, and so we naturally, in our best state, care for others. And all of it got jacked up, and people are, deconstructing their faith and trying to figure out why they were disappointed by leaders, and that's a fair thing. I mean, that really is. But if you zoom out a little bit, you see, again, God cares about this injustice. He calls it out. And then he says he himself will take care of it, which is what Jesus does. And then you get to the New Testament, and you see that there are those who are called by spiritual office to do the same. So in the world, the church's role is to shepherd and to lead God's flock, but to lead them to health and vitality and to bring the kingdom healing to a broken world. And if there's something in you that has that same desire, you may be called to ministry, or it might simply be that God has that image in you. So do that. Do it well. Who are the people around you today that you can shepherd? maybe not in an official capacity, but people you can look out for, people that you can protect, serve, step up for. Notice what they're lacking, and if you have anything in your power to fix it, fix it. It's so easy to feel helpless, like there's nothing you can do, you're stuck. Don't see it that way. See it as this drive in you to care and to fix, as something that God has given to you, and then carry it well. So whether you have an official shepherd capacity as a pastor, or you're just kind of hanging out with the rest of us mere humans, somebody needs you to care for them, just like somebody cared for you. And if somebody who was supposed to care for you dropped the ball, I'm sorry. But Jesus ultimately will care for you and care for all of us. And in his faithfulness will appoint people to help do that. I've been shepherded well. I have the responsibility to shepherd. We can only do this by God's grace. Do it today. That's RadCast.